The night my father kicked me out was the same night we buried my mother. The house still smelled like flowers from the funeral. White lilies, my mom's favorite. People had just left. The door closed behind the last guest. And then the silence came. The kind of silence that doesn't feel peaceful. It feels heavy, like something is missing from the air because she was gone. My name is Ethan Miller. I'm 19 years old. And that night, I lost more than just my mom. Growing up, my mother was the only reason our house ever felt like a home. She was warm, gentle, patient. She believed in me even when no one else did, especially my father. My father was a different story. Cold, strict, always critical. Nothing I ever did was good enough for him. If I got an A, he asked why it wasn't higher. If I tried something new, he told me I would fail. And after my mom got sick, it got worse. The last year of her life, I spent every day by her side. Hospital visits, medication schedules, late-night conversations where she would smile through the pain just to comfort me. My father? He was busy, always working, always important, always somewhere else. The night before she passed away, she held my hand. Her voice was weak, but her words were clear. "Ethan," she whispered, "no matter what happens, you have to be strong." I tried to smile, tried not to cry. "I will, Mom," I told her. She squeezed my hand softly. "There are things you don't know yet," she said. I frowned. "What things?" But she just gave me a gentle smile. "You'll understand soon." The next morning, she was gone. Back to that night. The funeral was over. The guests were gone, and it was just me and my father standing in the living room. Two people who never knew how to talk to each other, now with nothing left holding us together. He didn't look sad. He looked irritated, like the entire day had been an inconvenience. "Clean this place up," he said coldly. I blinked. "What?" "The house," he snapped. "It's a mess. People were here." My chest tightened. "We just buried Mom," I said quietly. His jaw tightened. "Don't start," he said sharply. "I've had enough emotional drama for one day." Something inside me cracked a little, but I stayed calm. "I'm not starting anything," I said. "I just thought maybe we could..." "Could what?" He cut me off. "Sit around and cry? That won't bring her back." The way he said it, so cold, so detached. It hurt more than anything else that day. "I was there for her," I said quietly, "every day." He turned and looked at me. His eyes narrowed. "Are you trying to say I wasn't?" I hesitated, because the truth would start a war, but I was too tired to lie. "You weren't," I said. The room went completely still. His face changed instantly. Anger. Sharp. Immediate. Explosive. "Get out," he said. I frowned, thinking I heard wrong. "What?" "I said get out," he shouted. His voice echoed through the house. My heart started pounding. "Dad, I don't want you in this house anymore," he snapped. "You think you're better than me? You think you know everything?" "That's not what I said." "You're ungrateful," he shouted. "I paid for everything your whole life, and this is how you repay me? By disrespecting me in my own house?" I felt my hands shaking, not from fear, from hurt, from everything building up for years. "I never asked for anything," I said quietly. "I just wanted you to be there for her." That was it. That was the sentence that pushed him over the edge. "Out!" he roared, pointing at the door. "Pack your things and get out of my house." My chest tightened, my eyes burned, but I didn't cry. Not in front of him. "Where am I supposed to go?" I asked. He looked at me like it didn't matter. "Figure it out," he said. "You're an adult now, right? Act like one." That moment, I realized something painful. I had just lost my mother, and now I was losing my home. I walked upstairs slowly. Each step felt heavier than the last. My room, the place where my mom used to sit on my bed and talk to me, where she would knock gently before entering, where she made me promise I would be strong. I packed a small bag, clothes, my laptop, a few personal things, and one picture. A photo of me and my mom, smiling, happy, from a time when everything felt okay. When I came back downstairs, my father was sitting on the couch, watching TV, like nothing had happened, like I didn't exist. I stood there for a moment, hoping maybe he would say something. Anything. He didn't, so I walked to the door, put my hand on the handle, and paused. "Goodbye, Dad," I said quietly. He didn't even turn his head. I opened the door, stepped outside, and closed it behind me. That sound, the click of that door shutting, felt like the end of something. I stood there, on the porch, in the dark, with one bag. No plan, no home, no family left. But what my father didn't know, what he had no idea about, was this. My mother had left something behind. Something important. Something that would change everything. And very soon, I was going to find out what it was. That first night, I had nowhere to go. No plan, no backup, no safety net, just a small bag, and the echo of a door slamming behind me. I walked for what felt like hours. Streetlights passed over me one by one, each one making me realize something more real. I wasn't going back, not this time. Eventually, I ended up sitting on a cold bench at a bus stop. My hands were shaking, not from the cold, from everything that had just happened. I pulled out my phone. No message, no missed calls, no one checking if I was okay, except one name I couldn't call anymore. Mom. I swallowed hard and looked down at my bag. That's when I remembered something. The nurse. The morning my mom passed away, a nurse had handed me a small envelope. She said, "Your mother told me to give this to you, only after." At the time, I was too broken to even open it. I just put it in my bag and forgot. My heart started beating faster as I unzipped the front pocket. And there it was, a simple white envelope, my name written on it in her handwriting. Soft, familiar, gentle. My fingers trembled as I opened it. Inside was a folded letter and something else, a smaller sealed envelope. I unfolded the letter first, and as soon as I saw the first line, my vision blurred. Ethan, my brave boy. I had to stop for a second, breathe, because hearing her voice, even in words, felt like she was right there beside me again. I wiped my eyes and kept reading. If you're reading this, it means I'm no longer there to protect you, and I'm so sorry for that. You deserved more time with me. My throat tightened. But there are things you need to know, things your father will never tell you. My heart skipped. I saw how he treated you. I saw the distance, the coldness, the pain he caused you. And I tried to protect you from it as much as I could. A tear slid down my face. But I also knew, one day, you would have to stand on your own. I looked up at the empty street in front of me, and for the first time that night, I didn't feel completely alone. I kept reading. You are stronger than he ever believed, kinder than he ever understood, and smarter than he ever gave you credit for. Those words were everything I needed to hear my whole life. Then came the part that changed everything. I have left something for you, something that belongs to you, and only you. My eyes widened slightly. It is not in this letter. It is in the second envelope, and it must be opened in the presence of a lawyer. I frowned. A lawyer? This was important to me, and I made sure it was done properly. Your father does not know the full details. My breathing slowed. Trust yourself, and trust that I prepared you for this. The final lines broke me completely. I love you more than anything in this world, Ethan. And no matter where you go, or what happens next, you will never be alone. I am always with you. Love, Mom. I pressed the letter to my chest, closed my eyes, and for a moment, I let myself cry. Not loudly, not uncontrollably, just quietly, like saying goodbye one last time. After a few minutes, I wiped my face and picked up the second envelope. This one was sealed, and on the front, in bold handwriting, it said, "To be opened with attorney Daniel Brooks." I stared at the name. Daniel Brooks. I didn't know him, but my mom did, which meant I could trust him. I took out my phone again and searched the name. It didn't take long to find him. A local estate lawyer, well-known, experienced, and his office was only 20 minutes away. For the first time since I was thrown out, I felt something shift inside me. Direction. The next morning, I barely slept, but I didn't waste time. I went straight to the address listed online. A clean, professional building, glass doors, quiet lobby. I walked in, nervous, tired, still carrying everything from the night before. The receptionist looked up. "Good morning. How can I help you?" I swallowed. I'm here to see Daniel Brooks," I said. "I believe my mother left something with him." She gave me a polite smile. "Your name?" "Ethan Miller." Her expression changed slightly. Recognition. "Please have a seat," she said gently. "I'll let him know you're here." A few minutes later, a man in his late 50s stepped out of his office. Professional suit, calm presence, kind eyes. "Ethan?" he asked. I stood up. "Yes." He gave me a small, respectful nod. "I'm Daniel Brooks. I'm very sorry for your loss." "Thank you," I said quietly. He gestured toward his office. "Come in. Your mother spoke about you often." That sentence hit me softly, in a good way. We sat down, and I placed the sealed envelope on his desk. "My mom told me to open this with you," I said. He looked at the envelope, then at me, and nodded. "Yes," he said. "She made very specific instructions about this." My heart started beating faster again. He reached for the envelope, but before opening it, he looked at me seriously. "Ethan," he said calmly, "what's inside this envelope is going to change your life." I swallowed. My fingers tightened on the edge of the chair. "Are you ready?" he asked. I took a deep breath, thought about my mom, her voice, her last words. Then I nodded. "Yes," I said. "I'm ready." He carefully broke the seal, opened the envelope, and pulled out the documents inside. As his eyes scanned the page, his expression changed, from neutral to surprised. Then he looked up at me and said something I never expected to hear. "Ethan, your mother left you the house." My heart stopped. "And not just the house," he continued slowly. "She left you everything." Everything? Which meant only one thing. The house my father just threw me out of, legally, belonged to me. For a few seconds, I couldn't speak. I just sat there in that office, staring at Daniel Brooks like I heard him wrong. "The house," I repeated slowly. "You mean our house?" He nodded once. "Yes," he said calmly. "The property is in your mother's name, and in her will, she transferred full ownership to you." My chest tightened, because suddenly, everything from last night replayed in my head. My father yelling, pointing at the door, telling me to get out of his house. Except it wasn't his. "Are you sure?" I asked quietly. He gave me a reassuring look and turned the documents toward me. Everything was there. The deed, the signature, the official seal. Legal. Final. Real. My mom knew. She knew what could happen, and she made sure I was protected. "There's more," Daniel said gently. I looked back up. "More? Your mother created a trust fund in your name," he continued. "It covers the house expenses, taxes, and provides you with financial support for several years." My mind struggled to catch up. Last night, I had nothing. No home, no support, no direction. And now, I had security, stability, a future. "Your father," Daniel added carefully, "was not included in the ownership of the property." Silence filled the room. That explained everything. My mother didn't trust him with it. She knew how he was. She left him a separate financial amount. Daniel continued, "But it does not include control over the house or your inheritance." I let out a slow breath. For the first time in my life, I wasn't under his control. Not legally, not financially, not emotionally. "What happens now?" I asked. Daniel folded his hands on the desk. "Legally," he said, "you are the sole owner of the house." He paused. "That means you have the right to live there and decide who else does." Those words echoed in my mind. You decide who else does, which meant one thing. The man who kicked me out was living in a house that didn't belong to him. I stood up slowly. My heart was racing. I want to go back, I said. Daniel gave me a calm nod. I thought you might. He gathered the documents neatly into a folder and handed them to me. Take these with you, he said. And remember, you don't have to handle this emotionally. You have the law on your side. I nodded. But this wasn't just about the law. This was about respect, truth, and everything I had endured for years. When I stepped outside the office, the sunlight felt different, brighter, stronger. I wasn't the kid who got thrown out last night anymore. I was the owner of that house. The drive back felt longer than usual. Every turn, every street brought back memories. Childhood laughter, Mom's voice, Mom's smile. By the time I reached the house, my hands were steady, not shaking anymore, not afraid anymore. I walked up to the front door, the same door I walked out of less than 24 hours ago, with nothing. Now I stood there, with everything. I knocked. Once. Firm. Clear. Footsteps approached from inside. Then the door opened. My father stood there. Same expression as always. Cold. Distant. But the moment he saw me, his face changed. What are you doing here? He snapped. I told you to get out. I looked at him calmly. Not angry, not loud. Just steady. I know what you said, I replied. He crossed his arms. So why are you back? I slowly held up the folder in my hand. Because you kicked me out of a house that isn't yours. His eyes narrowed. What are you talking about? I stepped forward slightly, just enough to stand firmly at the doorway. This house, I said calmly, is in Mom's name. I opened the folder, pulled out the document, and held it up so he could see, and according to her will. I looked directly into his eyes. It belongs to me now. Silence. Complete. Heavy. He didn't speak, didn't move, didn't breathe. His eyes scanned the document quickly, then again, then again. Confusion turned into disbelief. Disbelief turned into shock. That's not possible, he said quietly. It is, I replied. He grabbed the papers from my hand, reading them faster now, more aggressively, like if he read them enough times, the words would change, but they didn't. You're lying, he said, his voice slightly shaking. I'm not, I answered calmly. His grip on the papers tightened. She wouldn't do that, he muttered. I took a step closer, my voice still calm, but firm. She knew exactly what she was doing. His eyes snapped up to mine. Anger, panic, pride, all fighting inside him at once. So what? He said sharply. You think you can just walk in here and take over my house? I held his gaze, steady, unshaken. It was never your house, I said quietly. That sentence hit him harder than anything else. His shoulders stiffened, his jaw clenched. For the first time in my life, he didn't have control over the situation, and he didn't know how to handle it. What are you saying? He asked, his voice lower now. I took a slow breath. I'm saying, you don't get to throw me out of my own home. Silence again. And from now on, I added calmly, things are gonna change. He stared at me, trying to understand, trying to process, trying to hold on to whatever control he had left. But deep down, he knew everything had just shifted because the son he called weak was now the one holding the power, and the house he thought he owned was never his to begin with. The silence between us stretched longer than anything I had ever felt in that house. Not the quiet after an argument, not the quiet after my mom used to calm things down. This was different. This was the silence of power shifting. My father stood in the doorway, still holding the documents in his hand, reading them again and again, like somehow the words would rearrange themselves and give him back control. They didn't. This is ridiculous, he said finally, his voice tight. There has to be a mistake. There isn't, I replied calmly. His eyes snapped up to me again, sharp, defensive. Why would she do this? He demanded. The answer came out of me before I could stop it. Because she knew how you treated me. That hit him. I saw it in the way his face stiffened, the way his grip tightened on the papers. That's not true, he said quickly. I raised you. I provided for you. You controlled everything, I corrected quietly. You never cared about me. His breathing grew heavier, because deep down, he knew, for years, he had used his authority like a weapon, and now, he didn't have it anymore. This is my house, he insisted, his voice louder now. I've lived here for years. I took one slow step forward. Steady, confident, not the scared kid he used to push around. You lived here, I said. But legally, it's mine. That sentence echoed in the air between us. Heavy, unavoidable, final. He looked around the house, at the walls, at the furniture, at everything he thought belonged to him. And for the first time, he realized something terrifying. He didn't own any of it. So what now? He asked, his tone shifting slightly. Less aggressive, more uncertain. I took a deep breath because this moment mattered. This wasn't about revenge. This wasn't about humiliating him. This was about boundaries, respect, and the life my mom wanted me to have. What happens now, I said calmly, is that we live here with rules. His eyebrows pulled together. Rules? He repeated. Yes, I said. No yelling. No insults. No disrespect. I paused, and no more treating me like I don't belong here. He stared at me, processing every word. And if I don't agree? He asked. I held his gaze, unshaken. Then you'll have to leave. That was the moment, the exact moment everything flipped, because for the first time in his life, someone set a boundary with him, and meant it. He looked at me like he didn't recognize me anymore, like he was seeing a completely different person standing in front of him, and maybe he was, because the version of me he raised was gone. The silence returned again, but this time, it felt different. He looked down at the documents one last time, then back at me, and slowly, something in his posture changed. His shoulders dropped slightly, his voice lowered. I didn't know, he said quietly. That sentence surprised me, because it wasn't angry. It wasn't defensive. It was honest. I didn't know she did this, he continued. And I didn't think. He stopped himself. Didn't think what? I asked. He looked at me again. This time, without the usual harshness. I didn't think you'd ever stand up to me, he admitted. I nodded slowly. I know, I said. Another silence. But this one wasn't hostile. It was uncomfortable truth for both of us. I lost her too, he said suddenly, his voice rougher now, real. I didn't respond immediately, because for the first time, I could hear something I had never heard from him before. Pain. But pain didn't erase what he had done. I know you did, I said gently. But you don't get to take that pain out on me anymore. He looked down again, and this time, he didn't argue. That was new. For years, every conversation with him was a fight, a battle, a power struggle. But now, there was no power to fight over, because it wasn't his anymore. After a long moment, he nodded slowly.